Welcome back. This morning, we're shining a spotlight on the New England region as a serial killer may be at work. An eighth body was recently discovered there. According to reports, the remains have been found since March in Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island. And while law enforcement has not yet confirmed the serial killer theory, the fear continues growing each time a new body is discovered. The Hampton, Massachusetts district attorney issued a statement saying in part, quote, while online conversations around these incidents continue to grow, we urge the public to be mindful of the role that social media can play in spreading fear or misinformation. At this time, there's no indication that these incidents are connected to each other or are part of a larger public safety threat. So what is going on there? Well, to help us answer some of those questions, we want to bring in now someone who's been following this case very closely, is on the ground there. Let's bring in our friend, nationally known radio host and the creator and host of the show Road Patrol Live, John DePietro. John, good morning to you. Share with us, if you would, please, some of the areas where you've been and the things that you've learned while on the ground there, please.
Julie, I can tell you right now that this is almost becoming like a full-fledged panic. And as you said, every time a body is discovered, people immediately link it to and think that it could be the work of a serial killer. I've been on the ground for 3 of the different searches. And what I mean by that is it's someone that's discovering human remains, whether it's a hiker, someone just out in the woods, you had a situation of a hunter. But this online presence, the groups of people, that's what's really fueling it. I think I've also discovered, Julie, something, as you know, whenever there's an investigation, police are pretty tight-lipped and don't say anything. As a result of that, social media, many of the people interested in the possibility of a serial killer, they take that as just free will to then run with it. There's something else at play here, and that is the amount of self-harm cases. Police are not in the business of revealing if they locate a body and there was self-harm done, and that's out of respect to the individual, to the family. The silence of the police, and I'm not knocking the police or criticizing them, but people are interpreting that as police are hiding something. So the video that you're showing right now, that was a very extensive search. FBI, Homeland Security was involved for 2 days. There was the body of Heather Bosford that was dug up. And then also there's another missing person case, Michelle Romano. Her remains were found in late March, right on the Rhode Island, Connecticut border. And then just 10 days later, more human remains were found on the Connecticut side. Now, Michelle, we had been working that case as a missing persons case since the fall. It's still unclear exactly how her body ended up there. Police have said that it was a death of suspicious nature. But where things really went to the next level, there's an area of Narragansett, Rhode Island called Black Point. And in this group, New England serial killers, an anonymous poster, and people always have to be careful of these anonymous posters in some of these groups, they posted that there were, in fact, bodies buried at Black Point. It's right near Scarborough Beach in Narragansett. As a result of that, law enforcement went out there for 2 days with the canines. I was speaking with the police. They said, John, if you go live, this is going to blow this thing open and it's going to flame it up. So we were able to get some footage. But right now, and I want to emphasize this for the public, Julie, the police have not confirmed any link. But make no mistake about it. People are definitely on edge. It is unusual.
Right.
But something else I want to point out to people is a lot of people that are unhoused, homeless, they gather by the water. And a lot of times they have a drug problem, they have an alcohol problem. So now, whenever there could be just a homeless person who falls into the water, tragically drowns, every time a body is washing up, people immediately start thinking it's the serial killer at work again. So I think it's a combination. It is unusual about all these bodies that are being found. Whenever you have someone found in a shallow grave, like a missing person case I was working, Charlotte Lester, and then they did find her body in a shallow grave back in November, certainly that's very alarming, and there's a large number of women. But I think the key right now is police are not making any connection.
Right. This is really helpful, John. Tell me, in terms of what we know about these victims, do we know if they're all female victims?
See, that's the thing. Most of them are. But for instance, there was someone found in Pawtucket in the river. He had fallen. We don't know what exactly happened. A boat found him, but he was a male. Most of them seemingly are women. I'll say that. And it is, you know, people need to understand in New England, it's not that far. So you really have 3 different states, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island. Most of the victims are women over the age of 40. But people should understand this is not an example of maybe someone, you know, a hitchhiker, not that anyone does that anymore or anything like that. There's all different circumstances that have first led the women to be announced that they were missing, and then the human remains being found.
Sure.
I spoke with the police, and they told me this is not a tipster. You have people that, especially this time of year, like to get out and hike and walk. Back in the fall, with 2 of the bodies that were found, it was hunters that had found them that had been out. But right now, again, I want to caution the public, any talk of the serial killer, it is being driven online. I get asked about it every single day. A police officer just asked me about a half hour ago. But right now, they don't have the classic signs of there have been situations, you know, maybe someone picks up prostitutes or some forth and then takes them out or things like that. These seem to be all different circumstances. And I also caution people, as one police officer said to me, you know, if in fact they do arrest someone, this could come into play with reasonable doubt if someone floats out, hey, it's not me, it's that serial killer out there.
Right. That's another great point, John. John, such great video that you've shared with our network, where we're seeing so many people at work at the various sites where you've been when they're finding these bodies. Last question, please, and I know we have to let you go and get into the courtroom in Massachusetts because you're also covering the Karen Read case. You cover so many different cases, but in this one in particular, I would imagine, are your law enforcement sources telling you that they're working together, these 3 states where the various bodies have been found? Are they all kind of working in conjunction to make sure information is being properly transported?
Good question. And the answer is, you know, they weren't, but they're starting to because of the amount of furor that's going on online. And they realize they need to all be on the same page.
Right. It's key, making sure everyone is communicating, as you know, transmitting that information. And gosh, let's hope it's not a serial killer at work. John DePietro, stay safe out there. We'll look forward to talking with you about the Karen Read cases. You're one of the members of the media who's going to be having a seat in the courtroom this week. So we'll look forward to bringing you back on that case. Thank you for the great video and always great work with your show, Road Patrol Live. My friends at home, check it out.